7 years ago now, I started this most incredible journey called Amazon.com. Actually, at that time, it wasn't even called Amazon.com. It was called Cadabra Inc., as in abracadabra. That was the original name of the company. And I had phoned a lawyer on the way to Seattle from a cell phone. And he said, well, to incorporate the company? He said, what do you want the company to be called? And I said, Cadabra. And he said, cadaver? Long term, and here I'm thinking, when I say we, I mean we humans. If we think long term, we can accomplish things that we couldn't otherwise accomplish. So if I came up to you, Werner, and I said, look, I want you to solve world hunger in 5 years. You would rightly decline the challenge. But if I said, Werner, I want you to solve world hunger in 100 years, now that's more interesting. Because then you start to first create the conditions under which such change could occur. And all we've done there is change the time horizon. We didn't change the challenge, we changed the time horizon. So time horizons matter. They matter a lot. And the other thing I would point out is that we humans are getting awfully sophisticated in technological ways and have a lot of potential to be very dangerous to ourselves. And it seems to me we are, as a species, going to have to start thinking longer term. And so this is a symbol. I think symbols can be very powerful. The clock has 5 anniversary chambers. These are big. This is all carved out inside of a mountain. And in the remote, it's kind of like you have to take a pilgrimage to get there. And when it's finally done, we'll, let people come and tour the clock. But it has 5 anniversary chambers. The first one is a room that kind of like the cuckoo on a clock, and it shows this animation once a year. The second chamber does its animation once every 10 years. The third chamber once every 100 years. The fourth chamber once every 1,000 years. And the 5th anniversary chamber just once at the end of the 10,000 years. And we're only planning to build the animations for the first and second chambers. We figure our future generations can worry about the 3rd, 4th, and 5th chambers.
What the business of Amazon.com is today?
What we are, first of all, we want to be Earth's most customer-centric company. So we think of ourselves as a customer company. We want our brand to be known for this abstract notion of starting with the customer and working backwards. I think those abstract brands provide more flexibility and robustness than brands that are associated with concrete things like product categories. We want to be the Amazon.com
of the world, of the web.
Yeah. What that means is that we want to personalize so there are all these things that you can only do online, like personalize. We have 20 million customers today. We want to have 20 million different stores, each store customized for that individual customer. And that's something you can't even begin to
How many stores?
20 million stores. If we have 20 million customers,
you want 20 million stores.
The Charlie Rose store should not be the same as the Jeff Bezos store because we undoubtedly have some different interests.
And different products to sell.
And you'll be interested in different things than I will.
Then when you talk to them, when they bring out the CEO to talk to these people, what's the mission statement you tell them?
First, it's Earth's most customer-centric company. And we have and I explain what we mean by that, because we have a very precise definition for customer-centric. It means listen, invent, and personalize. So first, you have to listen to customers. Companies that don't listen to customers fail. Second, you have to invent for customers, because companies that only listen to customers fail. It's not the customer's job to invent for themselves. It's our job at Amazon.com to invent things like one-click and other things, like sales rank going from 1 to 18 million. Those kinds of things that customers really like. That's our job, not theirs, to think of that. And third is personalize. Take every individual customer and put them at the center of their own universe. And then, when we talk about Earth's most customer-centric company, we mean that in a very broad way. This is bigger than Amazon.com. What we want to do is sort of uplift the worldwide standards for customer service and customer centricity. So this is sort of like Sony. Sony, sort of born right after World War II, is a company that set out, if you go and look at their early mission statement, it was not to be known for quality. It was to make Japan known for quality, not Sony, Japan. And that's sort of what we want to do. We want to do something bigger than Amazon.com.
To make what? Well, define it for me.
It would be that that we set a new example for customer service and customer centricity that other companies look at, admire, and want to emulate. It's also very important when planning a business like this, I think, to sort of look at what is the brand promise that you're going to make to customers. And the brand promise that you make has to actually coincide and very, very closely with the things that you can deliver. This is kind of an important but sometimes overlooked component, I think. And in our case, that led to the name of Amazon.com. It's basically Earth's biggest river, Earth's biggest bookstore. The primary success factor for Amazon.com has been an obsession over the customer and a focus on customer service. This is clearly important in any business, but especially important online. And the reason for this is that word of mouth is incredibly powerful online. If you make a customer unhappy on the internet, they won't tell 5 friends. They will tell 5,000 friends. Likewise, of course, if you can make a customer happy by meeting or exceeding their expectations, they can also tell 5,000 people and therefore, be evangelists for you. They can use the internet as a megaphone. So it's very important to do the things that you actually are going to claim to do. And what this means basically is the balance of power has shifted away from the merchant and toward the consumer, which is a great thing, I think, for everybody involved. And it's even great for the merchant as long as the merchant realizes it. One of the statistics that we track most carefully at Amazon.com, because we believe that this is so important, is the fraction of orders we receive every day that are from repeat customers. And that number has consistently gone up, and it's now over 58% of our orders that we receive every day, even in the context of a very rapid new customer growth. One of the great things, too, online is that the customers help you figure out what you're doing wrong and how to do things better. Email is this great medium for receiving feedback because somehow email turns off that little piece of everyone's brain that causes them to mostly be polite. So what happens is, if you go into a restaurant and have a bad meal, very rarely you're trying to have a good time. I never go into the kitchen, grab the chef by the scruff of the neck and say, you really shouldn't be cooking. But online with email, that will happen in a heartbeat. And we've benefited greatly from that and have, I believe, in the 3 years that we've actually been doing business, I suspect we've received more feedback, both positive and negative, people helping us improve our service than probably most business establishments have received in the last 20 years. But we do work very hard, and we'll never make Amazon.com fun and engaging in the same ways that great physical bookstores are. You'll never be able to hear the bindings creak and smell the books and have tasty lattes and soft sofas at Amazon.com. But we can do completely different things that will blow people away and make the experience an engaging and fun one. And I'll talk about some of the stuff that we can do in the future a little later. There are dozens of off-the-shelf systems you can buy to handle inbound phone calls into a call center and so on. We get thousands of email messages from our customers every day, and there aren't any great off-the-shelf inbound email center software packages yet. There will be. So we've had to write our own. In fact, about 85% of all of our software development to date has actually gone into the back-end systems that are completely invisible to customers. The logistics systems that handle 2.5 million different items in 6 different availability categories. Early on, we looked at, could we buy a software package that would do the logistics for us? The problem is that if you look at the available packages that are built for mail order companies, they typically have just 2 availability categories, in stock and back ordered. We actually have 6 because we have books that are shipped within 24 hours, 2 to 3 days, 1 to 2 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, not yet published, shipped when available, and one more out of print, shipped within 1 to 3 months if we can find it at all.
Energy.
Hire smart people.
And how do you go about that?
If you don't hire, because a single individual cannot keep in touch with the plethora of of new things happening. So what you have to do is you have to put in place a recruiting process that attracts and retains smart, talented, hardworking people who want to be a part of your mission.
Whatever. Come back to you and say, when will this be a profitable company? When will I see in your annual report, bottom line, profitability?
So we will tell them, thanks for asking, but we're not going to share that information.
Because what we're doing is more important to us in the long-range health of this company.
No, that's not. So just to be clear, no one cares more about profitability than Amazon.com. And we're actually putting more focus on it today internally than we did a year ago.
Why?
The reason is that the scale of our business is such. So now, we have annualized revenues of about $2.5 billion a year. Let me give you, that means that if you can make a 1% improvement in efficiency, and believe me, we have these little 1% improvements laying all over the place to be picked up. It's an opportunity. And if you make a 1% improvement, that's $25 million to the bottom line.
So we're not going to be running out of money anytime soon.
No.
All right. The other question that comes up is in terms of this profitability thing that it inevitably, if you talk to you have to ask. It is, you have already pinpointed the last quarter of the year 2001, right? And that is or is not taking and counting the interest that you have to pay on the money you borrowed.
Not counting the interest. So this is a first step for us. What we've set as a goal is a pro forma operating profit this Q4. And so the operating versus net. So a net profit would include the interest expense. Right. An operating profit does not.
So you have an operating profit at the end of this year.
That's what we're going for.
It's a goal, or you're pretty sure about this?
Well, we resisted for 5 years answering that question. So we have a high degree of confidence, but at the same time, whenever I say that, I always tell people that there are no guarantees. There's a lot of work to be done between now and then, but we're on track. What startup companies do is they take their precious early capital dollars and systematically eliminate risks. That's what they do, the successful ones. Now, what we worry about now is that we don't do our job. And I'll tell you, one of the things in this period that I kind of like is that it's a lot easier in the year 2001 for Amazon.com as a company to be humble, working our butts off, than it was in 1999 when the world believed we couldn't lose. We're a company, it's kind of handy to be an underdog. It's not easy to make things different. I mean, it's not difficult. It's not hard to make things different, but it is hard to make things different and better. Most of the solutions, most of the problems in the world already have solutions of one kind or another. All of those solutions can be improved upon. There's no chance that anything is perfected yet. I don't believe that. But all those solutions are highly evolved, and they've been, people have been working on solutions to most problems for a long time. But still, somebody, it wasn't that long ago, somebody figured out that you should add wheels to